I have all my Stranger Things album. I have a Survive album. I think it's here. Or
Nice.
I love it.
Great. Well,
Sweet.
you're about to have two more Stranger Things albums.
Yep.
We just got the masters in right before this call.
Oh, cool.
And then another Survive album
Great.
shortly.
Bienvenidos, bienvenidas a este nuevo show de Spoiler Tracks en vivo. En realidad esto va grabado, obviamente, pero hoy tengo dos invitados de lujo conmigo que los voy a introducir en este momento. Michael Stein, Kyle Dixon. Guys, how are you?
Very good. Very good. How are you?
Great, great, great. Thank you for your time. It's an honor. It's a really honor talking to you today. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Yeah,
Sure.
definitely.
Great. Michael and Kyle, we're going to talk about your musical career, Stranger Things, The Hole in the Fence, and much more. And I want to start. In 2009, you started your band, Survive, making music with synthesizers and very influenced by the horror scores of the 80s. Were you already planning to get into the world of movie soundtracks, or how did that happen?
I don't think that we were planning on it, but we always were interested in it. You know, it's kind of hard to plan for something like that unless you go to school for it, you know, like to be a composer, which neither of us did. But we liked the way that synthesizer music worked in older films, and we thought that that the music that we made, especially since it doesn't have lyrics, could lend itself to that kind of situation. So it was always something that we were interested in doing, but we didn't really know how to get into it. We kind of started putting together libraries of stuff to vary without really getting too far along that line, but it was always in our mind. But we just got lucky one day and got an email.
Yeah, I mean, it was just kind of in the back of our minds. Probably had thought about it. I've always had film as like an element of. I never fully committed to it, so like it's just been something I've been interested in. Like I did some post-production school for audio and I dropped out of film school, so it's like this is something I like, but this is something I'm not super committed to. But with audio production, like making music was something I was really passionate about, but we didn't really know how to get into the film scoring stuff, and it was more just about making the music and the records, which eventually led to scoring in a natural way.
So, guys, what do you remember from the moment you were called to do the music for Stranger Things, or you received that email? What did they tell you about the series, the script, and what was the specific request of the Duff brothers for the music of the Stranger Things?
I can do it. Basically, it was an email to our band. Like they found us on Bandcamp. Our band Survive. They found our Bandcamp email. They emailed us, and they put it all right in the first sentence. You know, hi, we're doing a Netflix series that's a sci-fi horror film with Winona Ryder. Are you still a band? Are you still making music? Would you be interested in doing it? And then, I mean, it's obviously yes. We were interested.
Yeah. I think whether or not we believed it was a real email after like within the first 30 minutes, which I believe we did, there were too many things stated in it that could be made up. You'd have to be like a sociopath or something to write an email that was fake like
That was
that
that. Yeah.
specific. But so we just kind of like dove in and we were like, all right, let's take this serious. And we were like, yes, we want to do it. And we started kind of going into those libraries that Kyle was talking about and creating a new one that we could present with them. And then obviously there was a lot of conversation and talks and pitching and stuff. It was a couple months led up to.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it's not. We didn't just get the job. Like it wasn't like they got the email, we said yes, and then it was like, all right, here we go. Stranger Things came out. There was a lot more to it than that.
And nobody knows nothing about Stranger Things at that time.
Nobody.
Exactly.
I mean, they didn't even have a cast at that point. They had Winona Ryder, and that's all. Everybody else was.
They sent us the casting in like reels.
The audition tapes. Like they sent us the audition tapes just to show us who they were thinking they would use for certain characters, because they had sent us the scripts and everything. We had that to write to, and we didn't really know this, and I guess the Duffers didn't know this, but apparently there was a lot of concern about whether or not a synth score would be effective in a show like this. So apparently there was some concern about that prior to seeing the first episode. So
yeah, so we kind of just found out yesterday. To us, we always believed there was this point where we were pitching and we were going against a couple other prospective composers when they were like, hey guys, you're on, we get like quit your jobs, come into this 100%. That was actually way earlier in the process than we discovered yesterday, that there was a lot of concern from the studio still about what we were going to do for the show. So
yeah, I'm glad we didn't get fired, because we did quit our jobs.
Yeah, I'm really glad it worked out.
You did one of the most important main titles of our era. If I ask to some people right now, what are the I don't know, 5 main titles do you recognize? Maybe it's Game of Thrones, Breaking Bad, Stranger Things, and 1 or 2 more. That are you?
For me, it would be a lot. I watch a lot of movies.
X-Files, Twin Peaks.
Okay, but that's from the 80s, maybe.
Doctor Who. I'd say SVU is very current. The Law and Order theme is very like.
Oh yeah, it's cool. I mean, it's crazy.
It's awesome.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. I mean, it's great. I think it was our way of fighting back against the skip intro button that they started putting on.
I never skipped the Stranger Things intro because the music.
Or the syncing of at the time of Stranger Things came out, a lot of shows had just like a song, like a rock song, or like especially a lot of folk songs and stuff. And we were like, whatever happened to like the iconic intro? Not that no shows had good intros at that time. It was just not like a commonplace that a lot of thought was going into them. So it was important to us to put a lot of effort into that.
Yeah, we weren't even sure that they were going to ask us to do the titles. Like at first, we had been writing the show, and then halfway through actually composing the score, they finally said, "Hey, we've got the titles. Give it a shot." Because who knows? They could have gone with a pop song or something, because that was pretty popular at that time. Anyway, I'm glad they didn't.
Great. Guys, season after season, you had to create new music. What is the great challenge? You had to not repeat yourself and to always stay fresh or innovative in each score, and to keep the music working in each season.
I mean, not to swerve the question, but I wish we repeated ourselves a little bit more. Because, I mean, we have to write so much music.
Yes, it's a lot of music. How many hours do you write on Stranger Things? About 4 seasons.
I mean, this season's at least twice as much as every other season. So I don't know. I couldn't even tell you. I don't know.
I mean, it probably averaged in over an hour's worth of music if you just, or more, like an hour plus per episode.
Of what?
Of,
Oh yeah, it's about an hour of music each episode.
Each episode.
Except for the 2.5
I mean, some of them
hour
are shorter, but then some of them are longer. Like there's some that are maybe like 30, 40 minutes, and then some that are an hour and 20 minutes.
Wow, it's a lot of music.
Yeah, because there's so much music that's like at the forefront to where you would want to recognize music's playing. There's so much music that's just in the background, like helping push the story along. There's a lot of music in the show, so with the extended duration of the episodes, it's pretty long. I'll also just add on to say that, you know, part of evolving the sound is that we might not put as much direct concept thought into it. Like we might say, oh, this is when we want to try to reuse these themes and then make a new version. We'll like watch the episode and kind of figure that out. But part of the evolution of the sound is just, kind of feels like a natural thing. It's not completely thought out. Some of it comes from sending the director stuff early on, being like, all right, you've told us about the new characters. You've told us about, we know what's happening in the script. Here's some new ideas. We know this season is going to be more horror, more 80s, more like dreamlike in ways. And then we kind of made a few sketches that might have had more choir or more bells, more like creepy, more haunted sound effects. We kind of lean towards some colder sounding synth sounds versus we still have a lot of the warmer synth stuff in there, especially for the kids and like telling that side of the story. But some of the new elements kind of taken on a colder feel.
I mean, just to kind of chime in on that, it's the story, like what's happening in the story. We get new characters. There's, you know, and that really changes the sound to some extent. There's always going to be that anchor of what we did in the first season, you know, that will always come back just to keep things nice and smooth. Like
we're not changing the way you eat off of.
But then there's always new stuff in each season, and it just depends on what they're doing, you know?
Yeah, so, I get it. Totally. What is your favorite score so far from the 4 seasons of Stranger Things, and why?
What's the favorite season?
Yes.
The favorite season?
The music, the score.
I'm just gonna say the first one because it's the one that got us in the situation. So I couldn't really say.
That's a hard one for me. You're not talking about a specific piece of music, just the season itself.
I love of season, but the season 3 for me is the best score. I don't know. Maybe the changes. I don't know.
Cool.
It's my favorite.
All right. Thanks. Well, nice. I would like to think that we're getting better, so that's good. Yeah.
I don't have a favorite.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I do like season 3. I like season 1 a lot. I mean, I think season 3 felt pretty cohesive, especially bringing back some of the themes that have been playing throughout the other seasons. I don't know. It had some deeper, slower, sentimental pieces in it that were kind of heavy. I like when we get to do that. So I don't know. That's a hard one. That's for other people to answer.
Yeah. Okay. I will put that the answer for the people. But my favorite is the third. But guys, with the Stranger Things, you won awards. You had more recognition from the industry, etc. Has anything changed about you as musicians? And do you know have a different point of view of the film and TV shows industry?
I mean, considering that we weren't involved in the TV and film industry prior to this, absolutely, I have a different viewpoint on it. I mean, any opinion that I had prior to actually being involved in it would have been guessing. So, yeah, I mean, I guess I have a better appreciation for actually how many people work on these things. It's not like, you know, it doesn't magically appear. There's
Yeah, of course.
thousands of people work on this show.
Yeah.
So as far as changing as a musician, I don't know. I don't know. The type of music that I end up writing on my own time has probably changed a little bit.
But your ideas as a musician are the same.
It really just depends on like what you mean, because
I
Sorry, it's a hard question. Sorry,
well,
sorry about
within
that.
the time we've been scoring, we've also evolved as listening to lots of music we hadn't heard before, lots of records. So you're gonna have to take that into account. There are things you're pushed to do as a composer musically that are directions you would probably not go if you were at home alone in your room. So that's gonna kind of advance you as a musician, technically, or just as kind of figuring out a couple puzzles that you might not have ever tried to figure out. And then whether or not that kind of goes back into the music you're creating as a solo artist or in a band, I don't know how much of that does. I still think maybe just the records, the music we like might fall into it. But especially with scoring, there's so much experimentation with the synths and hooking stuff up and creating techniques that surely those techniques are going to come back into the songwriting we do. But the like music, what's that called? Music theory, I guess, that you might pick up along the way. I don't know how much of that's going to come back into the songwriting.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think like, I don't know if this has anything to do with scoring or not, but I'm definitely more open-minded about certain types of music. Like, I think this also just is not just from scoring or being in a band, but from also from like touring and being on tour with other people who are doing music that's completely different than the kind of stuff that you might be drawn towards normally. Like meeting these people and seeing them do their thing and do it well has made me a lot less like critical of certain types of music that I don't necessarily, it's not like my kind of thing, but I have a better appreciation for someone who's doing it well, you know? Whereas when I was younger, I would just be like, this is shit, you know, I hate this or whatever. But and that might become from being just a stupid kid, you know, but
I know exactly.
but
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of things that happen along the way that you know, if you see someone doing their thing, it's better to be, you know, supportive or just at least acknowledge that they're doing a good job, you know. So I don't know, that's kind of something that's happened. I don't know if it's related to this or not, but
yeah, I love it. I love your
I would also say that I've thought about, you know, having sessions with musicians and what I would do. And maybe in the past it would be like, I'll just have a bunch of friends over who make electronic music. But now I'm like, I'd kind of rather, you know, come up with a plan of like an imaginary score or something. And I'd gravitate towards more people who play instruments and how to process and produce a sound that's kind of specific for an outlet, almost like a fake score to a movie that doesn't exist kind of direction, which is slightly different than maybe where I would have put my energy into before scoring. I don't think I would have those same ideas.
Great, awesome. Michael, Kyle, El hoyo en la cerca in Spanish, or The Hole in the Fence, is the second film by Mexican director Joaquin del Paso. How did you get to work with him?
Through our agent. He reached out with the film, trying to find a composer, and we really liked the film. We really like Joaquin, so it was pretty easy to say yes to. We had the time. We did it all over the pandemic, which was interesting. yeah, I was just down in Mexico City for the premiere
Yes, I know. I know.
on Monday. And I got to
You
go out
you
and see
you you
Joaquin.
like you like Mexico City?
I love Mexico City. I'll be back
Great,
this summer. I'll be back
great,
many times. Yeah.
great.
Yeah, it's a great place. Um, yeah, it was just, he was looking for a composer, and he was in contact with our agent, and we liked the film. So
You watch the entire film or a cut or what happened then?
I think we got the full thing.
We
I mean,
got
it
it.
changed. It changed.
We got it with temp score, so
Oh
we
yeah, we
watched
did. It
it,
did
and
have
it
temp
had
score.
temp score, and we were like, yeah, this is a really good movie. It did have a lot of edits and changes eventually over the period. We worked on it for on and off for a while. But yeah, we immediately felt connected to the film, and after meeting Joaquin, we were really the dude a lot.
Yeah.
Great. This is another story with children, like Stranger Things, but unlike the fantasy
Yeah.
and fiction, and this movie touched on strong real issues about education, religion, bullying, etc. Is
Mhm.
your songwriting process different for something based on a fiction than something based on a real issues?
Um,
I th-
hmm.
Probably to some extent, but I think more important than that is just the perspective that Joaquin wanted to take with it, because we have like these two for the score. There's these two very kind of like magical, very musical pieces that start and finish the film,
Yes,
and then everything in between is kind of
like
to help
mystery.
tell the story, mystery, and then
Yeah,
like a big climactic scene. So he was very purposeful with wanting to have that magical entrance into this world where you think, oh, it's nice, everything's going to be okay, and
Yeah,
then
it's like
it
a
starts to get a little weirder.
bookend fairy tale with the music a
So
little bit.
I think it was more to do with how Joaquin wanted to do that versus it being fiction and more realistic, I guess.
Yeah,
yes,
but the aesthetics of both the electronic music and the like electroacoustic stuff and the choir elements, everything is aesthetically a little different than we usually would do it, or it feels like a different era, or I would even everything's a little haunting and maybe a little off from being natural. Like the choirs are kind of unnatural, but then the synths are almost like I would almost think they're a little humanized at times because they remind you of like the early like 40s and 50s electronic stuff, and then
Yeah,
uh,
I think generally the score, even with the synth stuff, has a more acoustic
and it's more
quality to it. I
classical.
mean,
So yeah,
we have some choir layered in there. We have some clarinet, and we
yes.
have just experimentation with acoustic instruments around the house or studio, I guess.
it's
Yeah.
like everything is not quite what it seems in the
Yeah,
sound palette. I know they even did that with some of the sound design, like
yeah. We mix some stuff
uh,
in with the
yeah.
bugs and the birds and stuff. So that was
Oh
kind of
yeah, there's
fun.
synthesized birds in the intro music that mix with the birds in the real
And
picture.
in some of the forest, there's a fake bug. Yeah, which is fun.
Great.
That's very fun to do. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, what did you enjoy most about working on this film, which is also in Spanish? What was that an obstacle for you, the language, or not?
Not so much. Not really.
Not really.
Yeah,
Not
not.
really.
I mean, for me, I just loved working with. As corny as it is, I really liked working with all the people involved.
Yeah, everybody's really nice.
The
Everybody's really
relationships
great.
with everyone and the choirs, and there wasn't much of a language barrier with that part of the process. Beyond actually not being able, if I didn't watch it with subtitles, I would have an issue understanding the story. But
Yeah.
Yeah,
But it's the same for you as musicians, the language of the movie. You don't care about that?
yeah, language of
Not so much.
film.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I've always liked a lot of movies as well. Like if you just look at the language of like film, I guess, like French films and older, like
I mean, pretty much at least for me. Sorry to cut you off, but like as soon as I saw the first opening shot, beautiful wide shot,
yeah,
of the mountain, I'm like, okay,
That's
I love this movie. You can just tell.
Yeah.
You can just tell.
you can
Yeah.
kind of.
It didn't take very long to see like, oh, this is nice. This is nice.
Great.
Yeah.
Yes. So now that one is still, you, Kyle, are in Austin, Texas,
Mhm.
and Michael are in Los Angeles. How do you work remotely? Did the distance change anything for you?
Definitely on this one for sure, because it was the first time when we really weren't, because we would travel back and forth in the past.
Yeah.
But this one was completely online, so we're just
Right.
sharing files, and then write something, send it over. We can add and do things like that, or we're doing stuff in parallel. But this was the first project where we were never in the same room for any of it. And with the choir too, Nokoro, they were completely in their own room. I was on a cell phone watching.
Wow.
Yeah, what was that app, that software where we were multi-tracking like digital?
Yeah, they were doing the rehearsals because they couldn't get together either to rehearse.
Yeah,
So there's some software where they were rehearsing and it didn't have so much latency, but we were able to record the multi-track each mic. That was interesting. It was very
challenging.
It's a weird way to do it, very strange.
I imagine it'll really open up the possibilities of when everything can completely go back to normal, because I think we created a lot of efficiency in our workflow based on the pandemic obstacles.
Yeah.
That we won't just get rid of those processes because it created a lot of structure in our work.
It made us, it forced us to become a lot more organized than we have been in the past, which I think is a great thing, especially if we ever have to come back to anything, that was a great thing. That was just kind of, I don't know when it would have happened if we weren't forced to do it that way.
Yeah, I know. Guys, I have some albums here with me. I'm going to show them to you, and each one has to tell me something that you think about each album. Are you okay?
Sure.
Okay.
Again, I like games.
It's a
I hope
game,
I know
yes.
what they are.
yeah, you know.
Okay.
This is Social Network from Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross.
This one's easy for me.
Temp music.
This is, so this is the reason that we were able to get hired, is because of this score. Was the first thing in a long time that was electronic that gained recognition and was seen as like a respectable thing. He won an award for it, but prior to that, not much respect for electronic music. So I don't think if that hadn't have come out, I don't think we would have gotten to Stranger Things. So respect to everyone involved there. But yeah, we got that in temp music on almost every project we've worked on.
I would say, they crossed the threshold of emotion with the music that was electronic or electronic enough that people associated it as electronic music that they felt was sentimental and moving and heavy enough to be like cinematic. And
I think a lot of that just has to do with popularity, like if that movie hadn't been as popular as it was, then it wouldn't have done anything. But it just happened to be, because I'm sure I'm sure there are tons of great electronic scores, but this one was popular enough and gained enough attention to, kind of change things a little bit. So
yeah,
I'm happy that came out.
I agree. The second one is not the best album from John Carpenter, but it's one of my favorite movies, and
They
is
Live.
They
Yeah.
Live. They Live.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that film.
Yeah, there's some cool stuff in there.
Yeah.
It's a great movie. It's a good concept. It's funny, and there's an extremely long fight scene, like extremely long. It's like 15 minutes or something. It's crazy.
Yes. Yes.
I mean,
Totally.
seeing
John
that kind
Carpenter's
of,
great. I mean, sorry, go
Yeah.
ahead, Mike.
I was just gonna say that maybe not the score itself, but that movie, that film, the album art, it kind of just reminds me of today, what what we're living in this moment a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Totally. Yeah. So, Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad.
From Dave Porter.
Well, I love the show. Dave Porter's a nice guy. We did a panel with him at Comic-Con a few years ago.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
He's very, very cool.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it works really well with the show, and kind of like to sort of it's weird because it's kind of got this like Western cowboy kind of feel to go along with the like drug dealing aspect of it in the desert scenario. So I think it was well done.
Great.
Don't kill me, but I've not actually seen
No.
more than one
Michael's
episode.
never seen it, so
Yeah.
No Breaking Bad, no Better Call Saul.
I had a roommate watching it one time, and I walked through the living room, and sadly, I was like, "This looks good. I like this
That's
show,"
okay.
but I just didn't start watching it. So
That's okay. It's okay. So this is other winner of Grammy
Yeah.
and Emmy, Euphoria, Labyrinth.
yeah.
yes, I really enjoy the aesthetic that the whole show has, and I think it's a nice cohesive thing.
Great.
Yeah, I think it's a great show. I mean, it's interesting to see that type of it's a soap opera. I mean, but it's a pretty good one. You know, it's pretty well done. And yeah, it's cool to hear the contemporary kind of like gospel R&B style. That's very, I associate it very much with like New York, and like a handful of people that are doing music there. But it was interesting to see that used as score, and I think it was very effective.
Yeah, like the pop vocals, which I believe are Labyrinth singing, or no?
I think so.
Yeah,
Like,
I believe so.
interstitial little like acapella moments that are a little trippy and really soulful. I think those are really cool how they bridge it together. But I just like the way the pop element is used in the score, but still pretty subdued, and it feels still very cinematic, like score. It doesn't feel like songs are just like interjecting.
Yes, great. So one classic for me, Danny Elfman, Edward Scissorhands or Scissorhands.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't remember what the music sounds like in this movie. All I can remember is him holding the plastic hands in them
And cut the hair.
Yeah, and cutting the hair. I watched it when I was a kid, and I liked it as a kid because I've always been into like goth things, I guess, and that was like the Disney version of a goth situation or whatever. But
Yes.
yeah, I don't remember the music very well, unfortunately. It's been a long time since I've seen it, but
That's
I love
okay.
I really like it. Danny Elfman scores. There's a lot of similarity of his style, obviously, that kind of goes across all of them. So I'm having trouble specifically with the Edward Scissorhands theme in my head right now, but I do just kind of think of that movie as a whole package. It's like, you know,
Yeah.
the feeling, you know, like the opening of like the colorful suburban houses and like the dark mansion on the hill, and then
Yeah.
it's like a comedy, which you forget that it's like super like kooky, but like also just really well produced and like fun and off kilter, just weird. I think everything about that movie is perfectly married. Like if that movie didn't have Danny Elfman's score, it wouldn't be the same film at all.
It's definitely the right type of film for him, for sure.
Yes. So this is a classic for me. Tron, Wendy Carlos, maybe one of the electronic music score importance for me.
Yeah.
You remember that or no?
So, at the risk of sounding like an asshole, my memories of Tron were from when I was a small child, probably 8 years old, 10, I don't know, young. And I
Yeah.
was at daycare after school, and they put Tron on the TV to like for us to watch, and I thought it was the most boring thing I had ever seen. I hated it as a baby. I was like, I hate this. It's so boring. Nothing's happening. What are we doing here? I thought this was supposed to be fun. Um,
It's
so,
okay.
and then I never really saw it again after that point. Like, I know it's
Yeah.
a big one. I saw the new one. I love Wendy Carlos, just
Yep.
an absolute legend, you know. So I'm sure the music's great. I had never revisited it after my childhood, though.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, sadly, I don't have the same story, but I never saw it as a kid. Not that I haven't seen many nostalgic 80s movies that are significant. I also love Wendy Carlos and listen to their records, but I'm just not that familiar with the original Tron. Or I think I decided to watch it when the new one came out because I didn't want to just watch the new one without seeing the original. So I think I watched them back to back. But I just don't exactly know what the music sounds like.
Like 64-bit computer sounds.
It's like Commodore stuff.
Yeah, yes,
Cool.
something like that. But it's okay. It's okay. So this is a classic, no? Jaws.
Jaws.
Yeah, great. Obviously.
The best two notes ever written.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
That's actually the first thing I learned how to play on the piano because I thought
Yeah.
Yeah.
so cool. I thought it was a piano
Oh,
song.
well, the first I learned how to play John Williams song on the piano. This is my first thing.
Although that theme is not really in the first movie very much, which is surprising. It's mostly these bigger orchestral narrative pieces. Not the way I remember it going da like speeding up. I think that might have become more
Great.
of the later films. I don't know. I've watched that. I'll rewatch that movie quite often, and the score is really great.
Yes. Yes. One of the most classical scores. So to finish, Vangelis, rest in peace.
Yeah.
Chariots of Fire, winner of an Oscar too.
Yeah. Not my favorite music of his. Great song, whatever. Was an absolutely incredible musician.
Yeah.
I think my favorite score probably from him was for like it was called The Apocalypse of the Animals, but it's in French. It was basically
I don't remember the
nature-
name, but yes.
nature footage. It's like Les Apocalypses des Animaux, like it's French.
Yeah, I don't remember that. I know. Yes.
But
Yeah.
it's really great sounding music. It's a lot of it's ambient and sort of these really nice piano pieces that have a very unique quality to them that I haven't really heard other places. And also just his willingness to experiment and do things in a non-traditional way, especially not being classically trained. He just like came from a rock band, learned everything by himself, and then became like this fucking maestro, I guess would be the best way to call it. Yeah. I mean, huge. Aphrodite's Child, amazing band.
Yeah.
All of his solo work, great.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Rest in peace. I was very sad, man. I was very sad to hear that. There's been a lot of people dying lately, and it's not. I mean, they're gonna keep dying. It's one of the things about getting older. But
I know.
Yeah.
But man, he did such a good job when he was around. So
yeah, I think he paved the way with the way he approached a certain thing that happened in cinema. He probably did almost like the formula for it first. Like even with Chariots of Fire, it's like this triumphant, slow build, kind of like positive, but you know something serious is happening. It's kind of like the same thing you hear in like Top Gun, the opening with like the things taken off, and so many other movies when it's like Olympic music, obviously now, but like there's a certain formula he not just in Chariots of Fire, but like he kind of invented or paved the way for like this is maybe how you could do this in a way that feels cool.
Yeah, so. Yes, totally agree. So, guys, to finish the interview, do you have some plans to come to Mexico to play your music someday?
There's nothing planned, but I would love to do it. We don't really have anything on the books yet. I mean, with the pandemic and everything, all the shows I feel like that were supposed to happen in 2019 are just now happening. So I think everything's just trying to catch up. So maybe next year. I don't know. Well, I hope so. I love traveling and doing the tours. But I'll come back for sure
for vacations.
Maybe play some records or something.
Great. You know? Wow.
But I don't know about a live show necessarily. But I would love to come back and play records.
Great. And what are your? Yes, sorry, Michael.
I just said last time I was there, I was on a vacation, so it was super like vacation like. So the next time I go, I kind of want to like be more involved,
do some work.
Like playing a show would be great. You know, hang out with some people.
Yeah.
Having some people show me around. Good time. You know.
Awesome. Yeah. You are very welcome here in Mexico when you come to vacations or to play some music or wherever.
Yeah.
So, guys, what your next projects? Scoring.
For scoring?
Yes.
Nothing's particularly lined up. We have a small project. I'm not sure we can really say. I would consider it scoring, I guess, but it's nothing really specific that we can talk about. We're gonna finish. We have a Survive album that's nearly done. So now that we're wrapped up with Stranger Things, that's gonna come back into focus, and hopefully we can get that done relatively quickly, and then there'll be a new Survive album. And then hopefully we just go straight from that into another score of some kind. But right now, we're available. Call us.
Great. Awesome.
Yeah, awesome. We're free agents. Well, not agents.
Great. Kyle, Michael, thank you so much for your time. Yeah. Thank you so much for that. And please keep doing amazing music. I love your work. I have all my Stranger Things album. I have a Survive album, I think it's here.
Nice.
I love it.
Great. Well, you're about to have 2 more Stranger Things albums. We just got the masters in right before this call.
Oh, cool.
And then another Survive album.
Great.
Shortly.
So I'll be waiting to
save some room on those shelves.
Great.
For at least 3 more records.
Awesome. I will buy all of 3 albums.
Oh yeah, and Hoyo. We need to figure that out. We need to figure that out. Very importantly, we need to figure out that score. So 4 albums, but we don't have that one figured out. Again, labels.
They are available.
We need to figure that, but we plan to put that out. We just don't know with who yet.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.
Cool. All right. Yeah, thanks so much. Nice to meet you.
You can say a last word for my people in Spanish, like we are or nosotros somos Kyle, Dixon, and Michael Stein. Gracias por escuchar y ver Spoiler Tracks. It's a lot of words. I know.
Un poquito en español. Gracias.
Gracias por ver Spoiler Tracks. Thanks to watch.
I don't want to sound like an idiot. Thanks for watching Spoiler Tracks.
Great. Awesome.
Okay. Thanks for watching Spoiler Tracks.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Gracias, gente. Esto fue un nuevo episodio de Spoiler Tracks. Nos escuchamos y nos vemos en la próxima. Adiós.